Rothschild family and the French Revolution. Last episode, we spoke about the will of Meyer Amschel Rothschild, the founder of the family which rules the world, given to his family members. In today's episode, we are talking about the plot set by Rothschild family, with the help of the Order of the Illuminati to instigate the French Revolution to topple the king and the church. The French Revolution in 1789, after Rothschild family had maintained control over England with its economy and central bank, and this is what we'll come to talk about later, and that was with the help of the Order of the Illuminati. This sect that was founded upon the order of Meyer Rothschild in 1770 AD, when Adam Weishaupt, an Ashkenazi Jew, founded the sect that relied on the rabbinical Judaism. It was the turn of France, which they decided to overthrow by penetrating the European Masonic forums and employing them in the process of revolution against King Louis XVI, planning for the French Revolution. The Illuminati sect headed by Adam Weishaupt decided to take the Greater East Forum in Ingolstadt city as a center for launching a campaign to penetrate the organization to the heart of European Freemasonry, in order to set it as a fundamental base for the hidden cells that will organize Masonic forums everywhere. Hence, these forums will implement the step under the slogan of humanitarian actions, social parties and the likes of this. The strange thing is that they still follow the same method until this day. After penetrating into the European Freemasonry, the Illuminati cells in the forums of the Greater East in Europe contact and get connected to the influential and wealthy non-Jews, who have a relationship with the church and the state. These are then subjected, either willingly or coercively, to the order of the Illuminati through bribery, or corruption, etc. After this plan had been adopted, the Illuminati saw that the best one to contact is Marquis Mirabeau, due to the privileges he enjoyed, making him the most suitable person in France. To serve their purposes, Mirabeau belonged to the nobility, and wielded great influence in the royal palace. He was also a close friend of the Duke, who was chosen by the Illuminati to be the apparent front of the French Revolution. The reason to focus on attracting Mirabeau is his distinguished position alongside his personality, which made the Illuminati focus on him. That is, Mirabeau was devoid of morals and his life was full of obscenity, which made him plunge into excessive debt. The Illuminati considered that a loophole that allowed them to employ Mirabeau in their plans by providing him with money and encouraging his moral corruption. It was easy for the Jewish Illuminati usurers to make their clients contact Mirabeau, the famous French orator. Under the guise of admiring his rhetorical talents, they were offering him financial assistance to save him from his financial hardship, but what they were actually doing was pushing him more to indulge in vice and porn, as he ended up being indebted to them with huge sums that made him at their mercy. In a meeting held to document Mirabeau's debts, he was introduced to the Jewish financier, Musa Mendelssohn, who put him under his care and introduced him to a beautiful Jewish woman, known for her beauty and charm, as well as for stripping her of any moral imperative. Thus, Mirabeau would have been subject to the Jewish trap. The next step was to introduce him to the Order of the Illuminati, and he had to take an oath to maintain secrecy and obedience under the threat of death. The Rothschilds were like a skilled hunter. They did not tighten the screws on him, because had they done this while he was under their debt burden only, the fish would have escaped the hook and fled. Therefore, the second step came by introducing him to the Order of the Illuminati, and this was done after he swore an oath of secrecy and obedience under the threat of death. After joining the Order of the Illuminati, he was involved into situations of scandalous aspects that were mysteriously revealed to the public. This method has been called scandal, staining, or defamation. As a result, Mirabeau's fellows of his same social class to him, filling him with hatred for the nobles, and pushing him towards revenge, which he implemented later after being convinced of the principles of the revolutionary cause. The role prepared by the conspiracy heads of Rothschild family of Mirabeau was to persuade Weivry, the Duke of Orleans, to be the leader of the French Revolution, and thus, the heads of the Rothschild conspiracy allowed the Duke of Orleans to establish himself as a democratic ruler of the throne. The heads of the conspiracy avoided informing both Mirabeau and the Duke of Orleans of their intention to execute King Louis XVI, Queen Marie Antoinette and thousands of nobles to keep that away from them. They convinced them that the purpose of the revolution was to cleanse politics and religion from myths and tyranny. As the heads of the conspiracy, the Rothschilds tended to choose the Duke of Orleans as a front for the revolution because he was the greatest master of Freemasonry in Freemasonry France. After the heads of the Rothschild conspiracy entrusted Adam Weishaupt with coordinating the Illuminati rituals and rites to be used in the Masonic forums of the Greater East. Mirabeau introduces the Duke of Orleans and his friend Talleyrand to Weishaupt, who undertook the task of introducing them to the secrets of the Greater East Masonic forums. Philip, the Duke of Orleans, introduced the rituals of Freemasonry Masonic of the Far East to the Free French Masonry. No sooner the year 1789, the year of the Revolution, had come, than more than 100,000 forums of the Greater East Jewish Masonry were established in France. These forums include more than 100,000 members. Thus, under the supervision of Musa Mendelssohn, the Order of the Illuminati managed to gain access to the heart of free European Freemasonry by Adam Weishaupt, where the Illuminati then formed secret revolutionary committees within the Masonic forums. Thus, the solid base of the revolutionary movement was established in France from the formations affiliated with the forums. After Mirabeau had succeeded in inducing the Duke of Orleans to merge the French national Freemasonry known as Blue Freemasonry with the Illuminati Jewish forums of the Greater East, he pushed his friend, the Duke of Orleans, to indulge in vice and debauchery, just as he did. It took only 4 years for the Duke of Orleans to be drowned in exorbitant debts, and he had no choice but to resort to the path of smuggling and illicit trade. His adventures have always been a failure and mysteriously revealed to the public by the Rothschild family themselves. In 1780, the debts of the Duke of Orleans amounted to 800,000 French liras. After that, the Rothschild heads of conspiracy usurers pretended to lend him a hand, forcing him to mortgage all his property, lands, and palaces, including the royal palace, and all this in order to guarantee the debt of these Jewish usurers. The Duke of Orleans was not an expert in finance, as he thought upon signing the contract with the Rothschild bankers that the contract was in his favor. Those money changers convinced him that in exchange for managing his mortgaged properties, they would turn his financial deficits into success. In fact, he did not suspect that he had sold himself to Satan in body and soul, and he had become completely in the hands of agents. Hidden powers appointed a Hispanic Jew to oversee the property of the Duke of Orleans and his royal ballet palace. The name of that Jewish supervisor was Chaudralos de Laclos. Laclos was a largely scandalous man, so he transformed the ballet palace royal into a house of vices. Thus, the Ballet Royal has become the center in which the details of the campaign aiming to destroy religious beliefs and public morals in France are designed and executed. The Spanish Jew, Chaudralos de Laclos, was not alone in his mission, but rather had another Jewish partner named Gagliostraw, known as Joseph Balsamo, who turned one of the houses of the Duke of Orleans into a center for printing and revolutionary and publications. He also organized the Instigator Revolutionary Media Professionals Committee, whose mission, in addition to publishing revolutionary literature, was to organize concerts, plays and rhetorical meetings for discussion. The aim of all this was to arouse the feelings of the masses and prepare for the revolution. Balsamo also organized a series of spies whom he sent everywhere to pass on information about scandals to their masters of hidden powers to use them in organized libel cases in which they were dealing with well-known social figures. Thus, the property of the Duke of Orleans turned into a center for managing the revolution, and the cells penetrated into the meeting halls, theaters, art galleries, and sports clubs. They soon toppled all of this, while keeping the virtual curtain, into gambling halls, brothel houses, and wine and drug abuse bars. The prospective leaders of the revolution were surrounded by this infested atmosphere, where their consciences were disrupted by evil engagements, and then eliminated forever, by encouraging them to indulge in evil and vice. Skidder wrote in his book The Prince of Blood during talking about the Ballet Royal. This palace used to have the police more than the rest of the regions in all of Paris combined. For the French people, the Palais Royal was only the official residence of the Duke of Orleans, the cousin of King Louis XVI. Only a small group of men and women were aware of the control the Rothschild usurers kept on it, and that they used it as a cover for a revolutionary underground organization, to be means of their revenge and pursuit of their secret plans. When Adam Weishaupt issued orders for the French Revolution to break out, with a book he sent to Maximilien Robespierre. The book was prepared by a close associate of Weishaupt, named Xavier Zwack. The book was sent by express mail from Frankfurt to Paris, but on the way there, the mail was struck by an air strike. The book contained details of the plan, which the police had discovered and handed over to the German Bavarian authorities. As a result, the government of the Bavarian state in Germany ordered the police to raid the offices of the major Masonic forums of the Greater East, affiliate to Weishaupt, and the homes of his most powerful aides. The Bavarian authorities certainly were convinced that the book, which was discovered, was a real threat from a secret group of influential people who used wars and revolutions to achieve political ends. The Bavarian government criminalized the order of the Illuminati and shut down all its major Eastern forums in Bavaria. After that, Meyer Emschel Rothschild moved to his family's 5-story house in Frankfurt, where he was shared with the Schiff family. The Bavarian government published the details of the Illuminati conspiracy in a document titled The Original Writings of the Conspiracy and Ideas of the Order of the Illuminati, and sent copies of the document to all church heads and governments across Europe. But unfortunately, all these warnings have been ignored due to the European disregard of the Bavarian government warning. The scheme of the Illuminati succeeded in implementing the plan of the French Revolution from 1789 AD to 1793 AD. This revolution was the dream of the Rothschild bankers, as it established a new constitution and passed laws that put an end to the authority of the Roman Church, including the imposition of tithe, and also ended the church exemption from paying tax. King Louis XVI was executed by guillotine on January 21, 1793 in the Place de la Révolution in Paris, and in the same year, his wife Marie Antoinette was executed by guillotine too. The episode has come to an end, but what are the reasons and factors that helped the French Revolution to succeed? This is what we will know next episode. Follow us.